had steady employment before World War II. However, when war was declared, he initially joined the army, but later transferred to the RAAF. This decision aligned an arduous and distinguished career in the RAAF throughout World War II and following conflicts. Australia, along with most of the other Commonwealth countries, sent aircrews to serve with the RAF. About 9% of the personnel who served under the British RAF commands in Europe and the Mediterranean were RAAF personnel. Total RAAF casualties in Europe were 5,488 killed or missing. Norman Williams completed his air gunnery course in Australia and travelled to England via a troop ship. He commenced his first sorties as a rear gunner in Halifax bombers with No. 10 RAF Squadron in August 1942. Being an air gunner was not a safe occupation. Approximately 20,000 air gunners were killed while serving with Bomber Command. With these odds stacked against him, Norm Williams flew sortie after sortie and shot down several enemy fighter planes. As a result of these actions, he was twice awarded the Distinguished Flying Medal. It was his incredible, courageous and selfless actions during a raid with 35 Squadron to Dusseldorf in June 1943 that earned him the Conspicuous Gallantry Medal. His Halifax bomber was damaged during the raid, which resulted in a wing catching fire and a malfunction to the rotation of his gun turret. The crew were preparing to bail out when Flight Sergeant Williams urgently called to the pilot for a starboard turn, which enabled him to engage and destroy an incoming German night fighter. Flight Sergeant Williams subsequently engaged a second German fighter, and although wounded in the stomach and with both legs paralysed from the first attack, he managed to again shoot the attacker down. The pilot, aware of his gunner's injuries, decided to limp the stricken bomber home and managed a safe crash landing. The damage to the rear gunner compartment was so severe that it had to be removed from the fuselage before Flight Sergeant Williams could be lifted from the turret. Shown here are several examples of a Halifax rear gunner compartment, similar to the one operated so effectively by Norm Williams. The 4 Browning 303-inch guns were mounted on their sides in pairs on either side of the gunner. The rear gunner could not wear his parachute whilst manning the turret and usually placed his chute in a compartment outside the turret doors. Incredibly, the Australian War Memorial has the bullet-riddled rear turret doors from Flight Sergeant Williams' rear gunner compartment and has placed it on display. Flight Sergeant Williams was commissioned to Flight Lieutenant in October 1943 and continued to serve with 35 Squadron. He returned to Australia in July 1944 and was offered a subsequent instructional posting. He refused this offer and instead opted to return to active service as a gunner on the B-24 Liberators. He continued to serve in the RAAF after the war with the British Commonwealth Occupation Force in Japan and was demobilised in 1948. However, this release was short-lived as he rejoined the RAAF in 1951 and went on to serve during both the Malayan Emergency and the Korean War. Acting Squadron Leader Norman Williams left the RAAF for the last time in 1954. As a summary of Flight Lieutenant Williams' remarkable service, let's reflect on these facts. He received the Conspicuous Gallantry Medal, one of only 10 within the RAAF. He was presented the Conspicuous Gallantry Medal by King George VI and was said to have then shared a bottle of beer with the said royal. His personal tally of 8 German aircraft destroyed qualified him as an ace, the RAAF's only non-fighter pilot member to achieve this distinction.